good morning. Thanks for joining us on Shop South Mississippi. We are talking with Charlotte, Gulfport Behavioral Health System. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm so good. I love
Good
chatting
to
with
see
you.
I know.
We got to get out of here and sing somewhere else one day.
I love
That's a story for another day. So we're talking to you today specifically about intake and assessments and anxiety and depression. These are a lot of information to talk about. So with Gulfport Behavioral Health System, your intake is a little different than a lot of places here. So tell us about the intake and the assessment portion of what you do here.
Okay, for intake, we want to make sure that we have master's level clinicians so that they can deal with the whole crisis of what's going on with somebody. We want to be able to ascertain exactly what's going on with them and what resources that they need. 24/7.
Oh, that's awesome.
We can do it either in person or telehealth or on the phone.
I think that's important because something can happen at any time of the day.
Yes.
And you can't, mental health doesn't have office hours.
Right.
Right.
Right. It happens any time of the day, and we're available any time of the day. So we have that available for them to just ascertain where they are and what they need.
And you have, this is an office that is staffed with multiple people.
Yes.
It's not just one person here that's doing an intake and also answering a phone.
Correct.
You have an
Correct.
entire team of people that are here 24/7, 365.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to the intake and the assessment, you can then take it from there, and you can treat inpatient, you can treat outpatient. You have a separate entity for those members of our community who are military. So it's a wide spectrum of what you have to offer once that intake and assessment has been made.
Yes, yes. And I mean, we're in the business of taking care of people. So if it's not us, we want to make sure that we soft hand you off to somebody that will provide you with the services.
Get them the help that they need, whether that's help from you or not.
Right.
That's the most important piece.
Absolutely.
And I think a big piece of what is the big challenge, I guess, with mental health is that it's wrapped in a stigma.
Yes.
And I think the most important piece to remember for everybody that's watching is it's okay to not be okay. Right? And
Right.
I know that's, if you're dealing with something that you know that you think is the end of the world, it's hard to hear that and just say it's not okay. But I think recognizing it early, we talked to Dean early, he says, if you feel like you're depressed, you're probably depressed.
Right.
If you feel like you have anxiety, you probably have anxiety. And I think talking it through with someone else is probably one of the most important pieces, especially if it's family members will be biased because it's your family.
Right.
But talking to a professional, you get an unbiased opinion because they want to help you, but they also have the science to back to help diagnose what's going on.
Right. And then there's no judgment, and we try to make sure that we put interventions in place that will help to not only change, or not necessarily change, but help to heal.
Sure.
That's what the whole process is about. Healing.
Everybody's got it.
Right.
Doesn't matter if
Right.
it's just a little piece of trauma or it's something major that's in our life, especially those of us that are Gen Xers. We all got it, right? We all
got
have something that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
And some of us handle it better than others, but we all need to seek help.
And throughout life, different things happen at
Sure.
different times. Sometimes expectedly, sometimes unexpectedly. But we need to be prepared to handle that.
Right. Let's talk about anxiety and depression.
Okay.
These are two, do you think these are probably some of the things that you deal with more frequently than the rest?
We see that all the time, and a lot of people don't really put that in the mental illness category, but it is definitely a part of that, and it's definitely something that you can heal from or manage.
You know, we're seeing, I see this every time I turn on the television, there's another judgment made against a social media giant. And then this one is found to be doing this, and this one's found to be doing that, and it's in our faces all day long. And I didn't have that when I was a kid. Not to say that I didn't have other things that were vices,
We
right?
didn't have
But we were not conditioned to be able to see everything like immediately
In real time.
Not just what's happening in our community, but what's happening across the country, what's
Right.
happening across the world, and it's negatively impacting toddlers, teenagers, young adults, the elderly, veterans. It's impacting everybody, and it goes without saying that is a large piece of the anxiety.
Yes.
Living up to what you
Absolutely.
see on the phone. So tell us what are some of the ways that you begin to recognize? So for folks that may think they have an anxiety problem or a condition, what do you tell them? What are they looking for, and what are their next steps when they're seeking help?
I know with anxiety, breath work is really good for that. Stopping. We sometimes even saying the word out loud, stop. And that really just speaks to your spirit. It speaks to you internally and says, okay, let me stop. Let me take a breath. Let me take a minute. And it slows the thoughts down, and just try to do one thing at a time instead of trying to be doing 50,000 things at a time. We're conditioned to do that. But if you're doing one thing at a time, you're stopping, you're thinking, you're breathing, that helps with the anxiety. It helps to calm you, it helps to slow things down, helps you to focus.
Right, especially for folks that don't stop anyway.
Right.
My schedule's wild.
Right.
And if you've
Same.
constantly got something going on, you've got a lot of people to satisfy. And
Right.
it can become a lot at times.
Yes, overwhelming, but it's gonna be there. The work doesn't go away.
That's right. Stop. I'm gonna take that to heart, just saying stop, because I can see where that would help me.
Absolutely,
Just,
absolutely.
just take a deep breath, stop, it'll be there when you get it together.
Absolutely.
Right, absolutely.
And sometimes self-care. When you're getting anxious and you're all up in arms, it's a good time to say, what am I doing to take care of myself right now? And I feel adversely for depression. Sometimes it means service to others. You're focusing on yourself too much in a negative way.
Right. And so for depression, that's the other piece of this is like, social media plays a big piece of that. We're not talking about getting upset because maybe your sports team lost. Like
Right.
the Saints are going to lose. It is what it is, right? They're going to
No
lose.
comment.
They're going to lose. But the whole point is, if you feel that it's more than it generally is,
And
if
it lasts longer.
It lasts longer, and you go to bed, and you're like, I'll just sleep it off, but you wake up and it's not better. Sometimes it's worse. You begin to have thoughts that you maybe wouldn't normally have.
Right.
How do you talk to those folks? How do you speak to those folks who are maybe going through some of that right now?
Again, it's a matter of recognizing that, because sometimes, a lot of times I talk to a lot of young people and they don't feel like, well, no, I'm not depressed, I'm not sad, but if you can't get out of bed, it's debilitating, you don't want to eat, your appetite changes, your attire changes, the music you listen to changes, everything is dark, then lighten up a bit.
You're not as engaged.
You're not as engaged. Lighten up on maybe your attire, lighten up on the conversations that you're having.
The video games that you're playing.
The video games that you're playing. What are the thoughts that are going through your head? And are they positive thoughts? And if not, maybe redirect those thoughts. If you're feeling sad or you're feeling negatively, then those are signs that there may be some depression that you need to maybe take a look at. And again, if it's a long time and it's not really going away, you can't shake it off, then maybe consider getting some professional help.
Because it manifests differently in everybody.
Yes,
and
it
it can
does.
manifest at a time you didn't expect it at all.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing to remember is that it's okay, really, to not be okay. If you feel something different, and it, like she mentioned, the time piece is there. The time is important. If you're feeling different, if you feel like you don't want to engage, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that, you're withdrawing from the things you would normally do, from the people you normally would hang out with,
Right.
for longer than what is normal for you, than just having like a day to just decompress. Give them a call. You see that number on your screen. There's a very competent team, an educated team, a science-backed team that is here to help you and make sure that you are getting off on the right foot. Charles, man, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too.